We are live. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be my thoughts on Alien Earth, Season 1, Episode 6, The Fly. Yeah, the episode is rated TVMA, so this video there will be spoilers for everything Alien, possibly including the Versus movies, every live-action Alien thing in the episode, including this episode. Fuck. I really loved this episode. Another one that I loved. Loved every single episode so far. Goddamn. Okay. Let's see. So some general stuff first. I literally hit record right after the end credits. Still in awe of the episode. Yes. General stuff. Yes. Really appreciate seeing more of the just the fucking depths that the corporations plunge to in God, it's devastating how close it is to reality already, and how much closer it's going to get in coming years if we don't do a lot to curb corporate power. Let's see. I think and I do not trust the Republicans to do that. At least not without significant pressure from Republican voters, because they don't listen to us lefties. Let's see. Some more. We get a little further on the sings. Him trying to deliver for Morrow. Let's see. I get. Yes, the redhead. That whole goddamn. That was fucking. God, fucking damn it. Okay. This is a positive reaction. I'm saying God fucking damn it. Prodigy, not the show. I think they're doing a really good job of getting us to the. So let's see. There's 2 more episodes. I want to say. Pretty sure there's 2 more episodes. Yes. I'm genuinely still not quite sure how they're gonna end this. How's it going to end? I'm wondering that myself. And that might be it for the general. I think that gets us to the scene by scene. So, if you haven't already, Jesse Gender and Council of Geeks do excellent videos on the episodes of this show. Haven't watched. I'm pretty sure Jesse did one for this episode. Haven't watched that one yet. But for earlier episodes of the show, recommended. And speaking of Council of Geeks, she just did. Vera just did another in her series on essentially how art is shaped by artists and also the way we interpret art. Let's see. My wrists are too fucked to check right now, but it was something like trying to understand the artist through their art, or something like that. Using art to understand the artist, something. But it was really, really good. Recently, I think I might be. I'm several days behind for reasons that are. I don't think I'm going to get into right now, but I think that does. Yes. So, the xenomorph is growing up, and it's this thing of Wendy. At first, it's not quite we're sitting there, we're watching, and it's is this a mother-son situation or a owner and pet? Like, what exactly is their dynamic? And yeah, she says, well, they didn't ask to come here. We took them here. Somebody should watch over them. And she's talking about how well she pronounces the clicks and hisses. Well, okay, the hisses, I guess. The clicks is more of a predator thing. Right. That's a good place to note. If you haven't watched my videos on earlier episodes, I very much read the hybrids as, you know, autistic coded. So throughout this video, if I say the word coded and nothing else, yeah, that's what I mean. And yeah, I have met a couple dozen autistic people in my life, and I sometimes worry that when I talk about autistic people that it comes across as like belittling in some way. I truly don't mean it as some of my favorite people are autistic. Um, I in no way think that being autistic makes you lesser. That was also Leisha Miller. Now, if you're not watching her already, she just fairly recently did a video on vaccines. I think it was something like WTF is the status of vaccines in America. And she pointed out that anti-vaxxers would rather have a dead child than an autistic one. Which, yeah, I believe in speaking plainly about when shit gets that real. And yeah, I agree with her. That is, I don't know how else to read anti-vax sentiment, like genuinely. Yeah, I think that does. Yeah, the CG on the Xeno, the growing little boy, is good. I don't know if it's like spectacular. Um, as far as I can tell, they are continuing to use live. Yeah, the fuck are those called? Practical effects. That's it. Whenever they can. But yeah. God damn, that was yeah. And at one point, it was like hanging from the ceiling, and it sort of like lowers itself using the tail. Very, very nicely done. I've seen them do that from like, fuck, what's it called again? From walls. I'm not sure. I recall one of the movies having it from ceiling, but it makes sense. And apparently, it constructed a little, you know, little tent made out of pillows. I'm sorry. Hi. They grow up so fast. Um, yeah, I quite appreciate that because it's like, the fuck you hiding from? Like, why? That's a scary instinct to have. Not gonna lie, that is a very off-putting. Because like, I could understand if it like, yeah, just what does it need a hive for in its current form? That just, yeah, yes, I have made my point. I will move on. I think that brings us to the yeah, okay, some of this shit's gonna be out of order. I can tell already. I thought it worked well that over the course of it, Cavalier reads aloud from Peter Pan. I don't know how exactly to feel about the fact that he is reading rather than getting one of the scientists to, because, like, does he feel some sort of, like, affection towards them? Because, like, reading to a child, that's, a wonderful thing. But, yeah, like, I don't know. Doesn't strike me. as normally being particularly like he most of the time doesn't feel like he gives a shit about what happens other than the monetary, you know. Um, but yeah, uh, I don't know. I guess we'll maybe I'll have more thoughts on how that. For now, I'm just feeling conflicted because like it's gonna have to work extremely hard if it wants to like redeem Boy Cavalier in the eyes of myself, many viewers, and honestly, probably Eileen, which is my nickname for the eye alien, the one that's currently in a sheep. Um, let's see. But yeah, he mentions the after two everything. What was it like? Two is the beginning of the end, which just seems like very intense anti-sequel bias. I kid. And really, so far, two's the best of these movies. So anyway, yeah, I think doesn't that pretty well bring us to the yeah. Really appreciated when Wendy talks to Joe, pointing out you're spending a lot of time in there, and also when he's just standing there watching, and it's like, yeah, it's genuinely off-putting, and yeah, like it is this thing, like she kind of doesn't perceive them as other, which is a genuinely compelling element because like they're very carefully designed by the people working on the show to be other, like only one of them has a visible eye. That visible eye is horrifying. um yeah. um Coded. What can I say? uh yeah, I seriously appreciate that because it is like, yeah, she's not technically wrong in what she says. It's just the fact that we and Joe are scared that it's gonna endanger herself and others. Um, I think, yeah, and the thing about, this is a yes place, not a no place. Boy Cavalier said that no is the start of nothing. That's just because the first two letters of the word nothing is no. And yeah, like that's of course he said that. That's the goddamn. I don't even remember. Yeah, my memory is fucking shot to shit. I don't remember if that was on screen, but yeah, that is, it reflects that Boy Cavalier doesn't take into account the risks and consent, and and yeah, he points out, like he doesn't use the word consent, but he describes it. He says sometimes no can give you power, power over your body, and yeah. um so there is a little bit of a baby kami in him still, not as much as in Andor, at least not so far, but a little bit, not nothing. uh I think that might bring us to the yeah, let's talk. So yeah, they get redhead in um in the machine. And it's like, oh, she can't hear us right now, and yeah. um I let's see, I think his according to the subtitles, his name is Atom Ines, so let's call him Up and Atom. Atom for short. Yes. He says, well, or he's, erase her memory, or he agrees when that that is what he wants, at least. And Arthur is like, this is wrong though. And then Adam just fucking fires him on the spot and says, I'll give you the rest of the day to take care of travel arrangements, but if you're here tonight, you'll be trespassing. That would be a real shot in the arm, or wherever they decide to aim. Yeah, that's like fucking capitalism, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, they do a really, really solid job of exploring the evils of that, as did I suppose Andor is more about fascism than capitalism, but I do appreciate this leftist media that okay, shit. Obviously, fuck Disney. They need to treat their employees better, but the yeah, I think essentially Disney think that they can just have media like this without people thinking, well, applies to you guys too. I don't think they're right about that. I don't think this is a distraction so much as like, what's the word? It encourages these, yeah. Yeah, and we have Dame saying that she can do it without Arthur, and so that's she's told to, and yeah, like Adam points out, well, what was it? In 3 weeks, they're going to be shaking hand. She's going to be waving at the unveiling, and then she'll be making small talk with delegates. So yeah, erase her memory, decrease the was it emotional intensity, these various things. And yeah, I think it's Arthur who verbalizes that would fundamentally change who she is, and Adam doesn't see her as a person, so and certainly Boy Cavalier doesn't. Jesus Christ. Yeah. And I know I've said it already in other videos on this show, but goddamn, the girl playing the redheaded hybrid, holy shit, she can act. Like, just goddamn. Okay, let's talk about some other scene before I return to that. I think we'll go with the barrister and the entire. Goddamn. Okay, so Boy Cavalier puts his bare ass feet directly on the fucking table, interrupts Miss Yutani, and she's like, and yeah, he's he's like, okay, can I just, and she's like, no. And then the thing about okay, what are you gonna do if I don't let her, if I use her time to talk? He's going to put you to bed without supper, young man. Yeah, she's very much, caught the fact that he's a fucking child. Jesus Christ. And yeah, he has the fucking gall, the Gallian gall to. This motherfucker is like, well, I mean, you crashed into my buildings. Maybe this was an attack. Oh my fucking god. This motherfucker. And he ends up winning. He gets what he wants. Because, like, it was like a 6 weeks quarantine. yeah, by then, he'll have patented the results and yeah. Tell you what, yeah, shit. Obviously, he's not gonna give her anything. He's gonna, when those 6 weeks are up, he's gonna say, "I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, you know, what came through and didn't live long, thankfully." And what the fuck's she gonna do? How can she disprove that? I'm sure he'll have witnesses, and the computer records will show that, and just god damn. And they they try to figure out how much money, and he gets the amount that he had hoped for. And that's the thing, like when he talks about, oh, it crashed into my buildings. Yeah, because of you, she'll never stray too far from the sidewalk. I mean, because of you, the fucking thing crashed. You must have known there was some risk that it would crash. And he has the goal to talk about, thousands of people injured and killed. Like, we gotta do something about this Superman. Um, Maybe put him in a better movie. I don't know. Um, get James Gunn on it. Oh, there it is. Amazing. But God, this fucking asshole. And Morrow didn't say anything because he knows. He saw the video. He saw. Because it's not really beneficial to point out. I mean, he downloaded all the records off the ship. I figure that probably includes the video footage that it proves. But right now, it wouldn't be, because like the let's see, the it is he is okay with the they talk about, well, let's force them to evacuate the building, and then go in when in the chaos, because he was that was what he was thinking before, or not necessarily that exact plan, but he was thinking, let's go, let's go get ghosts, I mean aliens. I swear, the start of right before I start every video, I tell myself, no more fucking obscure ass fucking references to shows that nobody fucking remembers. Does anybody? Please let me know in the comments if you even know what I just referenced before the yeah. Anyway, yeah. So the elevator. I honestly wasn't entirely sure if before they reached the floor that they were meant to be on, one of them would hit the floor because the other one threw them. Like, it looked like this was, yeah, Robo Wars. But yeah, and the thing about, he prefers the lack of feeling, and the Kirsch is like, I thought the feeling would be the thing you most like. I mean, they're basically, it's this wonderful. It's subdued because they're both like, you know, like it's a synth and a cyborg. They walk into a bar. They form a prog rock band, and both of them are saying, I can't wait to fuck you up, man. I'm gonna fuck you up so bad. Oh no, you're not gonna fuck me up. I'm gonna fuck you up. I'm gonna fuck you up so bad. We're gonna have to think of a new word because you're so fucked up. It's smack talk, and yeah, that was very fun, and in character. And then we see, yeah, Kirsch. Actually, let's. I guess I'll. Okay, I'll talk some more about. So the yeah. Uh, yes. So we have the bit where um, Joe is sitting, and he's like trying to figure out, and he tells Marcy. Yes, by the end of this episode, she wants to be called Marcy. He tells Marcy, I've been thinking of ways we can escape, and he's like measured, and because one of them said like 90 paces long hallway or something like that. He's trying to figure out how to get. Let's he's thought to himself, let's find a way off this fucking island, and yeah, the in walks Sing, and okay, so both coded and also the whole. Did I say the everything Marcy said to Joe? The whole thing with repeating verbatim and then explaining what Cavalier said and meant. Coded, but yeah, coded. Right. Shit. Okay. When I say coded in this video, both autistic coded, but also child coded. Because like in a way they still have the minds of 11 and 12-year-olds. But yeah, he's such a bad liar. So he's like staring at Joe, and then Joe like notices and like turns around, and after Joe has already looked at him, he's like. I think it's a little late to smile. You should have opened with like, oh hi, can I come in? But he's standing there thinking, trying to work up the nerve to do it. And I quite like the thing with where he kind of talks to both Joe and Morrow at the same time. Says it's just so unfair. Yeah, honestly, everything about Sing in this entire episode coded. And honestly, Marcy as well. And Redhead. Honestly, okay. Basically, everything said and done by a lost boy or girl in this entire episode. But yeah, the thing about, do you know where Wendy is? No. We could go find her together. No, I'm sure she'll turn up. Mm-hmm. And, Rashidi shows up. He's like, so, you want to go on patrol with us? No. I mean, it's just rude. And, like, Rashidi, he doesn't say, what the fuck was that? Until, he's far enough away that Sing can't hear. At the time, he's like, oh, I'm sorry, buddy. It was just, yeah. Yeah. So Dame does carry out the yeah, and then Redhead wakes up and says, she feels like she's been asleep for like 53 years. I'm sorry, 1,000 years, and yeah, Marcy realizes something's off here because she doesn't remember, and the thing about what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why can't I? And yeah, like phenomenal performance. Like she genuinely does feel like what was the thing? Like lower her processing speed for emotions and lower her ability to feel emotions because she's feeling clearly, but she's not expressing it as vividly as she did before. And yeah, uh, I mean, maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that feels a little bit like maybe, you know, we're meant to think of it as a lobotomy, and certainly like a number of um, autists and children, pressured to just be obedient and not feel their feelings. Um, and it's horrible. It's a terrible thing to do to another human being. I am going to move on because I can't. I'm not going to be very. Yeah, it fucking infuriates me when it happens in real life. So I'm really glad to see it covered in a piece of fiction that's going to be viewed by many people. Um, yeah, I think. Okay, let's. So yeah, so they're going around on patrol. They have the thing about well, it's because they think something is coming, like maybe Krusty the Clown. I don't know. And yeah, the thing about so hypothetically, let's play a game. Let's take turns saying how we think someone named Joe and Marcy might be able to get off this island. You two go first. Um, yeah, he's trying to provoke. I'm playing Hitman 2016 right now. He's trying to see if there's like an opportunity he can listen in on here, and then she's like, "Whoa, back off." Yep, just like Hitman 2016. If you get too close, trying to listen in on an opportunity. But yeah, um, we have that wonderful line that just she says, "We're lucky. We're alive and we get paid." I mean, doesn't that just perfectly sum up capitalism? That's the best you can hope for. Just, yeah. Because, like, they almost weren't alive. They were almost killed because of these two warring companies, And, yeah, let's see. Yeah, you have the thing about, doesn't it worry you that, the those killer aliens, and she says, at least if they're in there, I know where they are. You know, again, genuinely, she feels like that's the best she could hope for because, like, obviously, you know, what most of us would say is, well, we got to kill it. Then, we can't. It's too dangerous, but it's not gonna, yeah. That is also one thing. The when they were talking about during the arbitration, um, they did say, oh, these are, these extraterrestrials are predatory. I think you'll find they're alien. And yeah, that thing about well, why is it okay for Mr. Johnny to try to bring something dangerous to Earth? There's like 50 different laws that she's breaking. Just this motherfucker. And she makes the claim that the idea was to have these creatures on a outer space, maybe in orbit or something, a research facility. named after two brothers named Romulus and Remus, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not ruling out that that's like a reference to that, because I feel like that's very, because there's not that many of the those in these movies so far. Yeah, research facilities in space. Yeah. Let's see. Yes, I really love Marcy confronting. Damn. With the yeah, she points. She says the yes and no thing, and then she points out, you didn't even give Redhead a choice, did you? She had no say in the matter. Um, explaining. I mean, she doesn't remember anything from recent days. The last thing she remembers is us at like the facility, before the crash. I mean, okay, so she does have a really strong, inexplicable urge to go to Montauk, but that's it. Like, other than that, she doesn't remember anything. That genuinely is such a horrifying, fucked up thing. God damn. Adam, did it ever cross your mind that maybe she needs her pain? But yeah, one of the things we are looking at is, of course, this thing of putting children in adult bodies and putting you know what's it called, robot shit in their brains and bodies and such. Yeah, like what did you think was gonna happen? Of course, it was gonna go wrong. Have you not read any sci-fi story at all? But I swear I'll let it go if by let's see. I'm pretty sure we're only getting the one season. If let's go with, if by the end of the show, it has not been proven otherwise, I will by then accept that she was mistaken about being pregnant with Eileen's baby. But right now, I'm still not convinced. And the fact that she now no longer thinks that might make it harder for them to stop. Like, is she gonna start ignoring signs of Eileen's baby that she wouldn't have before? There's no putting it off any longer. We gotta go to the secure lab. So Kirsch, you have an interesting definition of everything going well. Which, that's the thing. When he says affirmative, I don't know if he's lying to Boy Cavalier, because, like, what are they gonna do at this point? Or I mean, I think they could do something, but maybe he or Cavalier thinks. But maybe, and this is the answer that scares me, maybe that was kind of something they're okay with having. Like, maybe Boy Cavalier doesn't mind losing one of the hybrids, as long as it also means more, like, Jesus, yeah. um and I do really appreciate they are genuinely doing, like, yeah, Kirsch is unemotional. He, like, doesn't seem to feel anything for the people being hurt that he's seeing on camera. But he calls and he sends Toodles. And Toodles is too proud to let one of the other Lost Boys come with. One of them does say, "Oh, should I come with it?" And he's like, "Nope, I'm special. I get to do it. Nah, nah, nah." coded. But the yeah, and them sitting there playing. He's like acting like, oh no, there's a fish on my. Adorable. God, that was also so fucked when Singh is standing there talking to Tomorrow, and then when the other shows up, he's like, "Are we not friends anymore?" Because it's so god damn. Noah Hawley is so fucking good at this shit. Cause we, it's sad and also funny to see that he's genuinely worried. I lost a friend. I would have stayed up with you all night if I knew how to save a life. But at the same time, it's terrifying to think that Morrow is going to fucking murder. Jesus Christ. Yeah. And the thing about as soon as we no longer you know as soon as this is done, we can play again. I promise. And he gives him a grown-up hug. God damn it. So Toodles goes Toodles indeed. He goes into the secure lab. Eileen giving him the hairy eyeball, staring. She's wanted to do. And yeah, just fucking waiting. Just watching and waiting as he brings the food. And oh my god. Okay, so he puts the food for Eileen. That's also such a chilling, once Eileen has what she wanted, she just goes over and eats her food. Because there's nothing more to accomplish. Might as well, yeah. Yes. So they God damn it. Okay. Yes. Yeah. I thought they did such a great job. This is one of my favorite suspense tension sequences of the show so far, and of Alien live action. Anything that isn't, yeah, basically everything Alien I know so far, including the couple of games that yeah. Okay, so the yeah, because we know from right away this is going to end badly. They give us enough shots of Eileen, and the fact that he's alone, because for real, this would have gone so much better if he hadn't been alone. If the other one had been there, if he had called for help when he needed, but again, coded. Because as soon as he accidentally breaks open the thing, just okay, it was an accident. It can be replaced. You're probably more expensive than the thing you accidentally pulled off there. Use the communicator. Get someone else to join you in there. But he's too proud for that. So it's this wonderful thing because he understands that the rules say that you can't open the because there's two lids on that thing. He tore off one of them. You can't open the other one if you don't. Or actually, I guess maybe the computer won't even let you. But even so, he should have called for help. But god damn it. Okay. Shit. So he opens the door. And yeah, it's very clear to us and Eileen. Yeah, that door. Yeah, I think. Yeah, we has it. I think we maybe even seen in earlier um, episodes that's how it goes. That it can't. The door cannot be opened from the inside. Once it closes, it automatically locks. Yeah, I think maybe Eileen saw it when the sheep was brought in. I think that might be. Yeah. God damn it. Okay, I'm gonna make that like the episode and go to because it's intercut. We're gonna intercut that discussion with the Joe. I will say I did kind of appreciate that Dame actually does start. She says Wendy, and Marcy says that's not my name, so she says Marcy. Just and that I am not the right person to talk about trans reading of that, but I feel like there probably is one to be made. I look forward to seeing a trans person or someone who knows more about trans people make it. But yeah. So Joe goes to talk to Arthur, and points out, hey, I could tell you care, or yeah, I just want to ask you, do you care? I did. I mean, I do. And yeah, he's like, he's been fired, and that's the thing. I forget what the exact. There's like a term for it or something, but there are people who fire other people who come to realize that if you fire someone, you should take care then to not watch them whilst um, they have access to something that could really fuck you over. And but that was a really great. He's he's like clearing his desk, and Joe asks these questions, and Joe asks, "Is my sister safe here?" And Arthur very, very smart, very in control of himself. Although it looked like maybe Kirsch was watching and has an idea of what's going on there. He is very perceptive, but the and is letting it happen, at least for now. Yeah, because that's the thing with having cameras everywhere. Some people are going to adjust to it and start getting really good at using dead spots. And he's like, "Oh yeah, trust me, your sister is safe. Why don't you come take a look at this monitor, and I will show you how safe she is / would be if you ran away with her." And see, I'm pulling up the their vital signs right now. Just look at the screen, and yeah, very nicely done. With he writes, he's on one of the screens. He writes, "Take her and run," and gives him the boat code, and then he turns off the tracking, which I can imagine is going to potentially be a problem for Prodigy in the last 2 episodes. And that's how he finds out the Toodles. God damn it. He finds out that Toodles is, in fact, not. The tracker is not responding. So he goes, and then he sees what we saw. And that, goddamn, Eileen, you may be in a sheep right now, but you are the goat. Waiting for the exact right time to just give him a little jump scare. Franchise has a lot of those. And he accidentally, he like jumps scared. And yes, the door locks behind him, and slowly but surely the bugs emerge. And yeah, disintegrate his face. He is not looking very integrated at all. And Arthur comes to the and Sing, like, that was another thing about the so Sing and Joe in Joe's room is one of those wonderful things. I don't want Joe to be face hugged, but I also don't want Sing's family dead. I'm genuinely sitting there watching and, like, I mean, is there any possible way that everyone just lives and is one big happy family? Maybe. Yeah, not in this franchise. And I mean, I wouldn't be watching it if that wasn't something I was okay with. There are franchises that I stopped watching. Yeah, I think, doesn't that bring us to the? But yeah, right before Arthur shows up, Morrow says, "Would you like to hear from your mother?" Before, goddamn, and then Arthur shows up, and Sing. And I get it, and that's, again, yeah. I mean, we know by the end of this episode, we know there's definitely, Arthur's gone. We know how this goes from the movies, but I can 100% understand why Sing does it, and uh, I love and hate that they specifically, like, he ends up dead specifically because he was doing the right fucking thing. He was trying to help Toodles, like, because, I mean, he said, I do care, because it's not really his job anymore. He was fired. He could just go tell someone. But no, he wants to, like, I mean, I feel like the fact that he doesn't just tell someone feels like, to me, is that he cares too much. That's, he cares. Some say he cares too much, but he doesn't care. Yeah. Jesse Gender did note about the death of the younger of the one with the let's go with stomach bug, the tick babies inside, where he vomited up blood in the episode before this one. She pointed out it was kind of cruel that, like, he's yeah. I recommend watching her video, the specific episode. But yeah, the show times has a mean streak. I think, doesn't that pretty well bring us to the yeah. So he opens. He doesn't just talk about opening the door. He actually does it and tries to drag out and asks Sing for help. And they did a wonderful job of, like, Sing first, like, disappears, and then we see him, like, still off in the background, in the distance, out of focus. And we hear a noise or two, and he turns around, and he managed to get Toodles just a little bit out. Very nicely done on that as well. The melting looked great. And yeah, they now there's multiple doors open. Meanwhile, Eileen is standing over there like, "Hello, who got you two out of here?" Wah. But Jesus Christ. Yes. He opens. Sing opens one door, but not the one for Arthur, the one for the egg. And yeah, God damn, I fucking love how they did the entire, because like for we've seen a bunch of these scenes by now, like I think at this point you might be able to do like a top 10 of like scenes of people being face hugged. Certainly, if you include the versus movies, Alien versus Predator 1 and 2, and you might also have to include the games. Whatever. Um, yeah, I think that this is one of my favorite ones. I thought they did a fantastic job because, like, some of these face hugging scenes, like the original, we didn't know what the fuck that even was. That was the first time we had ever seen it. Aliens, ultimately, they're not face hugged, but there's the threat for a couple of minutes there. We see and hear, and then like we can see where at least one of them is for a decent chunk of that sequence. Um, yeah, they've done variations on it. Here, to just see the open door and the open egg, and then like hear something be knocked over, hear a little bit of crawling, very, very nicely done. They did such a phenomenal job on having that as a just, yeah. I think that might just about, let's see. Um, yeah, I genuinely am not sure how exactly it's going to end. I guess based on the size of that air event, maybe a Die Hard episode or two. I kid. Obviously, it's a reference to Aliens. What's that line again? You were always an asshole, Gorman? Yeah. I think that might actually cover everything I had to say about the episode. But yeah, they're doing such a wonderful job exploring these ethical issues in a really compelling way and not letting it like take over. I talk about how in my video on Covenant, I talk about how I feel like the movie suffers from the fact that clearly Ridley Scott was frustrated and jealous that he was not the one to direct the new Blade Runner movie, 2049. And yeah, like, is it maybe a third of that movie that's basically Blade Runner, more than Alien? And it's like, dude, if you don't want to make another Alien movie, can't you just hand it off to someone? Like, I don't know, was there a contractual obligation for him specifically to direct? Yeah. And so far in this show, that hasn't been the case. They've had a good mix of the two, which, yeah, I guess they learned from that mistake there. I think that does pretty well cover. Um, because for sure, like you could there's some Blade Runner going on with the synths. Yes, hybrids. The hybrids here. There's definitely some Blade Runner. This thing of like, where does the line go between human and not quite human? So yeah, really, really nicely done there. I feel like that might be all that there is to say. Yeah, some great close-ups on the adult Xeno as the facehugger is doing its thing. And yeah, the bit where Arthur's like, please, if you could just open the door, it won't open from my side. And, Sing standing there like, yep, I know. What do you think I was doing before when you had your back turned? And yeah, like this thing of like Sing, he's not like happy, he's just relieved. Now he genuinely believes Morrow is going to spare his family. I guess we'll see if he does or not, or if he thinks they know too much. Because yeah, um, I think does that pretty well get us to the. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's everything for this episode. Damn. Yeah. Uh, okay. Yes. Um, I gotta say, I'm really happy that I don't have to like be seated in the room where the Sino, where the face hugger came out of, because looks like there's no leg room in the egg room.